What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Skins in the Game as I knock over my Arizona tea can. If you heard that, of course that's what I would do. Why would I not to start the show? And we're gonna have a fun show, at least until after the first topic. Of course, we're gonna start talking about Demar Hamlin a little bit. We'll touch on that, but after that, we'll get around the NFL playoff scenarios and power rankings. We have the game recap versus the Browns. Of course, Washington was eliminated. Ron Rivera doesn't know that we could be eliminated, though, just in case you didn't know. Now Sam Howell will get the start. Of course, we'll do then our final weekly picks and Weddle to end it. But we're going to start the show as we do every show with the dad joke of the week.
And we actually had two shows in a row, which is good. But here's the dad joke. What travels around the world but stays in one corner?
Everything in the corner of a house?
No. A stamp.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Because I was thinking more of like the world spins, so you go around the world. So anything in a corner, but the stamp's a little bit better answer. Just a small bit. Just a small bit. Yuki, I know you sent me the power rankings, and I should have brought this up because I did plan on using it. Here we go. I found it. Never mind. Ignore me. I got them. Okay. Cool. That's what we're going to do. All right. Let's go ahead and hop into this stuff. So, of course, we all know what happened on Monday Night Football. If you live under a rock, the quick recap is Demar Hamlin, safety for the Buffalo Bills, took a shot to the chest from T. Higgins, went to the ground, got up, and then fell backwards. They had to perform CPR for about 9 to 10 minutes before they finally, and they used a defibrillator to get his heart going again. They got him to the hospital. We then found out later, according to his uncle, that his heart stopped again in the hospital, and then they resuscitated him again. So he is now, right now, still in critical condition, but latest I heard was that his condition is improving, but we still don't know the extent of his brain right now with lack of oxygen due to his heart stopping, or like why is he in critical conditions exactly? I do know apparently he still needed help breathing. There may have been a little bit of bleeding from the situation from that. I'm not sure. But for now, that's what we know, and that's what we know what happened. Did you watch it, Dad, and what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I can say that they were giving him oxygen, put him on a ventilator, and eventually they were reducing the amount of oxygen because his body was responding. My feeling is that they got CPR on him within minutes, and that's very important. Like, I don't think he went 5 minutes without oxygen to his brain, but then they kind of had to coax his body to get back into rhythm. But the last I heard was all his vitals are showing right, and they were reducing the amount of oxygen they were giving him. So very hopeful that he's going to get a full recovery. And I've listened to some doctors that were talking about what happened and said, in the whole scope of things, look, say what you want about the NFL. They had people there within minutes, probably not even minutes. It might have
Within
been in seconds.
Minute.
Yeah. Where they were, and look, I understand the players on the field. When you're giving somebody CPR, the shock of watching that's why they were emotional. Like, this guy, they're actually pumping on his chest, and this is a 24-year-old man. But I'm hopeful that with how quickly they got it and did everything exactly the way they were supposed to, that he's going to be fine. And I just really like the fact that fans and players alike said, screw football. We're all about this young man surviving. And they all, I mean, there were Bills and Cincinnati fans that showed up at the hospital and had a vigil outside the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all like, so that warmed my heart that they realized that football is a game, and
Yeah.
now you're talking about somebody's life. So
yeah,
but,
Zach Taylor had a press conference today, the head coach for Cincinnati, and he gave a lot of great credit to the medical staff and medical personnel on site, that they did a very professional job, were on it immediately, understood the situation. But yeah, to your point that the players were shook. Yeah, that was definitely this. Well, the scariest part was just seeing him fall straight backwards. That was
yeah.
wild looking. Just to watch that live, and it's like, oh my goodness, what just happened, kind of thing. And then, but
and
it
I
was
watched
almost
the
like,
referee.
yeah. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say, I watched the referee was like looking, and then he kind of looked over, like he just watched the guy collapse backwards, and then everybody on the field was in, I won't say panic mode, but in,
Yeah.
first
Yeah,
aid
when they
mode,
came
like,
back from the commercial, that was honestly, that was almost actually, I said the other part was the scary. It almost was scarier seeing the players' faces when they came back from the commercial break. You just see Josh Allen with his hands over his face, looking like he saw a ghost. You see Stephon Diggs just mouth the words, "Oh my effing goodness," like with the real words. Like, he was in shock. Tre'Davious White's in tears, and they're all surrounding it, and you're just thinking, what in the world? Like, is this dude actually gone? But fortunately, his heart did stop, but fortunately they had the right medical staff to be able to get his heart going. But yeah, that was just a wild experience, and getting to call the game at that time on this channel and having like 1,000 people watching was definitely a interesting experience of basically people turning in to you to relay this information. And yeah, it was definitely a weird time.
And look, we're going to stipulate that we care about his life more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, but at this point, I want to move on and have conversations that I think are important, which is kickers not wearing, or wide receivers not wearing knee pads. These guys are playing for speed.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at the shoulder pads that he was wearing, were these tiny little shoulder pads with nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think worst case is this has to go back to the argument of, I don't care what position you play, you wear every single required pad. That when I was a kid, we had to have the full shoulder pads, the knee pads, every pad. He had these tiny little shoulder pads on, and then goes in to make a tackle, and the guy just threw his shoulder into him and hit him. And I think he hit him at the wrong time and it caused his heart to stop. But we have to go back to, no, I don't care how fast you run or that you have to play with the required equipment to play this game. And if you can't be as fast as you would normally be, then so be it. That's my position on it. But I don't think they're going to do it. But like I said, look at his shoulder pads.
Yeah, it's just like the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks want the smallest pads possible, so they have the most rotation in the arm, so that they can flow the ball and contort their body in so many ways. And instead of going your direction and saying, no, we're all going back to the proper padding that people used to wear, but instead they're just saying, no, you're not allowed to touch him.
Right.
just don't wear. Just don't do anything. Like, imagine somebody says PPE, wear your PPE. Yeah. I'm just thinking of, like, on a construction site, you just tell the nail not to stab somebody. Right? Like, you just tell the saw not to cut people anymore. Like, you're not allowed to cut no, you have to wear the proper equipment to make sure you protect yourself in these situations instead of
That's
relying
where
on
I'm at
the
on
guy
it.
that's coming to hit you, and his job is to hit you, right?
No,
I
and
don't know.
his job was to hit the other guy, but the guy was turning and put his
Yeah.
shoulder right in his chest. And it's like if he was wearing the old-fashioned shoulder pads, I think it would have been fine.
Hmm.
But now it's like, oh well, I don't have to worry about being hit. No, you have to play like the guys played in the '70s and the '80s, where you had to wear
Mm. Yeah,
every
you just think of the receivers with the huge pads as they're running down the field, and it makes them look like little tiny people almost. But they're
yeah.
still good size. But yeah, they're running down the field in like an awkward way because like the pads are in a weird way. That's true. That's funny. But yeah, I don't know. But it's interesting, and I don't know how much longer you want to.
No, I'm good. I'm just
Yeah, definitely
that's
prayers
my
for Demar, and
no,
yeah,
absolutely 100% are in our prayers. That's the only takeaway I have is go back to the standard NFL equipment. Everybody's got to wear it from quarterback to wide receiver. Everybody's got to wear it
hmm
and deal with it.
yeah. What is up, everybody in the chat? We got IOD, we have Lazard, we have Richard, we have Yuki, Lawrence, Jordan, Peter. Why did the girl fall off the swings? Because she had no arms. Oh, geez. He had a dad joke ready for us today. New owner may clean house, maybe. But what's up, Lawrence? Robert's in the house. Neil, Roger. What's up, everybody? What did you guys have to say about it? Yeah, shell shocked. Yep. As far as Yuki says, the situation had me in shock. Yeah, it was very shocking, honestly. A couple of times, I remember having some goosebumps feelings. Like it was weird. Um,
And Yuki, you're right. It's not the first time. It was back in the '70s that a guy
was it this guy,
was
Hank
having.
Gathers?
It might be.
The guy in the there's one guy that died on the field in the 70s, and it was a cardiac arrest. It was a heart situation, and somebody said maybe I remember reading it. Yeah, underlying conditions. That was my initial thought, but from what the doctors, the online doctors, of course, they're not diagnosing it, but their professional opinions, it seems to be a. I'm gonna butcher this. A commodio cordis, I believe, is what they called it, and basically,
You're
they.
close. Yeah.
Well, what was it? Do you know how to say it?
No, no, no.
Oh, okay.
I didn't mean
You,
to.
if I'm wrong, you're saying I'm close. I get what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't know if I'm wrong or not, but I got it. Okay. Anyway, basically, your heart had a little cycle and they had a chart, and it had like a little bump at the beginning to like start the neurons. Then you had the big bump for the heartbeat. And then there's a little bump at the end to basically let your brain know and your neurological system know, okay, that heartbeat has completed.
Right.
Now we're
Cycle's
resetting.
done. Yep.
And now we're going into the next heartbeat. Well, if you hit it, if you get hit hard in your chest at the exact right time of when that little bump is going up, which only lasts milliseconds, but you have to get hit at the exact moment, and then if that you disrupt that bump, then your brain does not know that the last heartbeat completed, and it does not send the neuron to send the next heartbeat through.
Right. It's kind of like the right between the signal going to your brain saying the cycle is done, you get hit, and the cycle's not done. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It was
crazy.
a wild description to it. What up, expert? Cardiac is the arrest is the worst things that can happen to a person because the individual often needs a ventilator to breathe, and most likely chances are low. But Glady is fighting. Yeah, because the only good thing going for him, or that he had at the time, was he had immediate assistance that we just spoke about, which is good. Hank Gathers was a basketball player. Do you know this? That died on the court. I'm not familiar
I did
with
not
this
know
one.
that.
Eric Dickerson wore every pad imaginable. Yeah, he was one of the ones that I could think of that he's like running down the sideline and the pads
my
are
God.
flapping. There's so many pads on him. It's like flapping this. Yeah, that's wild. Very wild. Loyola Marymount, his teammate Bo Kimball shot his free throw with his left hand to honor Hank for the rest of his career. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. I like that. But yeah, apparently there was a guy in the 70s. I should have looked up his name, but I didn't. That he had a weird scenario of cardiac arrest. I don't know what the underlying conditions. I don't know if he took the same kind of hit. I'm not sure, but apparently he did end up dying on the field, which is very, very wild to see. But anyway, prayers for Demar and his family. Hopefully he pulls through. I'm not gonna lie, I think the longer this lasts, the worse feeling I get. But I'm not a doctor, and I hope that I'm completely wrong. And some people say don't say that because you're putting it out there in the ether. The world loves to prove me wrong every step it gets. So I feel as though me saying something actually is like the reverse karma. Like I'm trying to put things in his favor by saying it out loud. So that's the only reason why I say.
What I'm reading, according to what I'm reading, Chuck Hughes died on the field for the Detroit Lions on July 19th, 1971, and his widow witnessed Hamlin and said she was very emotional, but she said she felt an immediate bond with the family. But Chuck Hughes on July 19th, 1971 died on the NFL field.
That's just wild.
Wide receiver for the Detroit Lions took the place of an injured teammate in the fourth quarter of a game against Chicago. With the Lions down 28, Hughes caught a 32-yard pass, his first catch that season, and was tackled. Several plays later, with 62, he fell face down to the ground, clutching his chest. So that was the NFL guy in 1971 that died on the field.
And that's the only one, which is pretty amazing considering how crazy the sport, like rough the sport is that we play, that only one person has ever died. And it was, I was in and I was reading chat at the same time. Did you say he took a hit or did he just fall over?
Well, he took a hit and then like the next play, he clutched his chest and fell down face first on the ground. So
Robert Atkins says it was a blood clot. Apparently, maybe that it got a blood clot loose on one of the hits.
Yeah.
Crazy. But yeah, as Neil said, any way we say it, this is tragic. 100%. And I hope he pulls through, man. I hope he pulls through.
Well, right. I will say this.
Oh, okay.
Tragic means something very specific to me. If he makes a full recovery, it wasn't tragic. If anything affects the rest of his life, then it's tragic. It's scary.
All right, Mr. Technical.
I'm just saying.
No, it's all good. I understand what you're saying. No, that is what. Yeah, so it's not a tragedy yet, is what Dad's saying. It's not a tragedy yet. There you go. All right, well, let's go ahead and get around the league, shall we?
By the way, when do we cover Commander Tuttle?
Tutty?
I realized you didn't put that on there.
I didn't put that. Yeah. That's, you know what? We'll go for Major Tutty right at the beginning of the Browns game conversation because that's when it got released.
Thank you.
So there you go. All right, thank you. I'm glad you added that in there. All right, let's hop into some playoff scenarios. So we'll just go right into starting the game that we were just talking about. Okay, so Buffalo and Cincinnati still have not decided what they're going to do with that game. And there is a scenario that game will not matter in the scheme of things, for the most part. Okay? And that is if the Ravens beat the Bengals, the Bills lose to the Patriots, and the Chiefs beat, wherever the Chiefs are, there they are, the Raiders. This would leave the game moot as far as not needing to have it replayed or played at all. Because the standings would be the exact same no matter if... Or am I wrong? Crap. Hold on. Yeah, if the Bengals lose...
Tim, you're never wrong.
Oh, no. Hold on. I might be wrong.
By the way, you figured that out. I want to respond to Neil. No, it's not a dad joke. I feel tragedy is non-return. There's no coming back from it. Just my opinion. I wasn't making a joke. I'm just saying tragedy is when someone dies, someone's gone, there's no return from it.
All right. So technically, all right, well, at least it would eliminate the Chiefs from mattering. It would just be, you know what, at least this. It wouldn't matter as far as like Buffalo and Cincinnati can decide what they want to do at that point. Right? Because at this point, then it's only affects those two teams. And it does not affect Kansas City at all anymore. So they can have the discussion between the coaches of like, you know what? You were ahead at the game, so we'll give you that, or we'll just call it a tie, and the tie would then end up going. If you call that game a tie from last week, then I don't know exactly how it turns out, but at least that's somewhat of the scenario. If Buffalo loses, then the Chiefs would have locked up the first place anyway.
And Robert was just saying that, and I heard the same thing. They're talking about calling it a tie.
Yeah, and so maybe at that point it's a tie, and then it all depends if, you know, if the Bengals lose, then the Bills would end up with the second seed against the Ravens, that is. And if the Bengals win, then the Bengals would end up with the second seed.
Well, they're both going to be in the playoffs, so
the playoffs, it doesn't matter. It's just now about home field advantage. And honestly, that would only matter. And you know what? Maybe because that would only matter if both teams ended up making it to the AFC Championship game. And then at that point, maybe they do something weird and they play at like some neutral site.
Yeah, but really, is that going to be the only tiebreaker out of those two teams? If they make it to that point, is it really the only? Everything else they're tied.
No. I'm just saying, like, no. Technically, if the Bills lose and the Bengals win, then the Bengals would have the second seed, even if you tied that last game. But if the Bengals lose, then the Bills would have the second seed. So you could just leave it at that. But I'm just saying, anyway, at least it leaves it between those two teams. All right. So that's that scenario at the top of the AFC. All right. Now, the Baltimore and the Chargers have already locked up playoff spots, right? And if the Ravens win and the if the Ravens win and the Chargers win, the Chargers will have the 5th seed. If the Chargers lose, of course, then Baltimore takes it. If they both lose, Chargers will have the 5th seed, Baltimore will have the 6th seed. The 7th seed gets a little interesting. So if New England loses and Miami wins, Miami has the 7th seed. And also, is there one more team in here?
By the way, Justin says I'm covered up, which I just realized I'm covered up.
Yes, you are with this new situation. It is what it is.
All right, here.
Jairus made this nice thing, so I'm using it. It's cool. Jairus just did it for me and sent it to me randomly as a nice, I guess, Christmas gift. So we're using it.
However, you put it over me, not you. I'm just saying.
Now it's me. All right.
Oh, so, there we go.
There you go. Now it's over me. If that makes you feel, I hope that makes you feel so.
No, Justin, I didn't
warm
even realize
and fuzzies. All right, the warm and fuzzies. I hope you feel right now.
I didn't even realize.
I did that for you. For you.
Just let Justin know. That's the only reason why I do it.
That is hilarious. All right, and then basically, Pittsburgh needs New England and Miami to lose, and then Pittsburgh wins, and they would get in. Wild. All right, so that's how they are still technically alive. I also heard this about Mike Tomlin. Do you know since Mike Tomlin became the coach of Pittsburgh, they've only ever played one game in his 256 where they have been eliminated from the playoffs already?
Yeah, and he's only won one playoff game.
That's not true. He's won the Super Bowl.
Wait, what was the guy? There was a guy that I was sitting at.
He may have only won like one playoff game in the last like 5 years or something, or 7 years, or maybe since the Super Bowl. Maybe that's what it is.
No, I thought he said since like 2011. This guy was a Pittsburgh fan, and he was like, "Everybody loves Tomlin." He goes, "I can't stand him." he is the worst thing. And this was the guy from Pennsylvania saying,
Wow, that's hard. Really? He thinks he's the. I don't know. That's
I'm
sus. I
just
don't.
saying.
He's
That's
only
what I
had
heard.
one season under. He's never had one season under 500. People are just spoiled. They don't know what a bad coach is. He's gone. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been to a Super Bowl. Only one season with no seasons with losing records. Only one season with a 500 record, I believe, or 8-1 or something like that. So, if that's ridiculous, that is just ridiculous.
I have to look
Anyway,
this up. All right,
so if
but go
Miami
ahead.
wins
Move
and the
on.
Patriots lose, then Miami is in. Patriots control their own destiny. They beat the Bills. They will earn the 7th seed, and Bill Belichick will continue to be in the playoffs. He's only missed in 2020 when Tom Brady left and he had a bunch of players leave for COVID. So he's somehow still in the mix, even with a team that I think a lot of people may think is pretty... they're not very good, not very talented, and he does what he can with what he has. All right, so that's the AFC side. NFC. So the Eagles win, of course, they get the first seed, right? If they lose, if the Eagles were to lose to the Giants, and San Francisco wins, San Francisco gets the first seed. If San Francisco were to lose and Dallas wins, Dallas will get the first seed. And then if Dallas loses to us and Minnesota wins, the Eagles still maintain first place. So the Minnesota Vikings cannot get first place since they lost last week to the Packers. There is no first place for Minnesota. The Niners, though, can sneak into first with an Eagles loss and a win. And Dallas has a way to get to first. So those are the only three that have remaining first. Giants are locked into the 6th seed. They can't move down or up. Tampa Bay has been locked into the 4th seed with the win last week over the Panthers. So the only other one is Green Bay. Green Bay is the one that controls their own destiny. If they win, they are in. If the Lions win, they need the Seahawks to lose to get into the 7th seed. And if the Seahawks win and the Packers lose, the Seahawks are in. And those are the final 3 teams that can make the playoffs for the NFC. And what's your prediction? Who do you got in there, man? Who's the 7th seed? Do you have the Patriots, the Dolphins, or the Steelers?
I kind of like the Steelers. Pickett is gaining my favor.
I actually don't hate that choice at all, considering the Patriots have the Bills and the Dolphins have the Jets, who I'm sure are going to want to play spoiler. And Dolphins have been on an absolute horrible run as of late. And
Yeah, they're a team of streaks, right?
Yep.
Three,
Yeah, they're like
3, 4.
4-0, 0-3, 4-0, 0-5, or something crazy like that. Yeah, very streaky team to say the least. But yeah, I actually agree. I think the Steelers actually do sneak in, as crazy as that is,
Well,
and
and
they get in there at 9 and
Lamar's
8.
not playing. Lamar's not playing this Sunday against them.
Well, they're playing the Browns.
No, I thought it was Pittsburgh. Sorry,
Pittsburgh plays the Browns. Pittsburgh played the Ravens last week and beat them in the last second drive on Sunday night.
Apparently I got bad intel because I thought it was Pittsburgh playing the Ravens, but Lamar's not playing this week. So,
well, there you go, thinking again. Who told you to do that?
I know.
All
I
right.
hate when that happens.
All right, who gets in for the Packers, the Lions, or the Seahawks with the 7th seed?
I think the Packers. I think.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers has been on a tear. I actually do agree with that. I like both your choices. And especially now with Buffalo playing for Demar. Yeah.
No, I think Aaron Rodgers plays better. Like early on in the season, he really doesn't care. And then as it starts winding up, and eventually time's going to catch him. But yeah, Green Bay's my prediction.
That's cool. I do think the Eagles will win the first seed. And I think it'll remain like this. I think Niners will get the 2nd, Minnesota 3rd, 4th, and this will be this whole situation. I do think that this will be the situation right now. Oh, the only other game we didn't talk about was Tennessee versus Jacksonville.
Wait, who can catch Philly? I'm sorry, they're 14-3. Who can catch them?
If the Eagles lose and if the Eagles lose and the Niners win, Niners can get it. And if the Cowboys win and the Niners lose as well, the Cowboys can get in. So those are the 3 teams that can get up there. Either Philly, San Francisco, or
Okay.
Cowboys. Because if the Cowboys lose, then the Eagles maintain first seed over the Vikings because head-to-head.
Yeah,
So
by
that's
the
how you get
way,
in there.
take it to the bank right now. The Vikings lose before the the conference game. Take it to the bank.
All right. They got the Giants first up, and then they would have, in my scenario, they would have the Niners next. That's tough. Yeah, I don't know if they beat the Niners.
Just going
here
with
we are.
track record.
All right. Okay. There's that. There is that. All right.
All right, listen.
Here's my power rankings. What's up?
Okay, hold on. I want to just go through, and maybe it's not as bad as this guy that was a Pittsburgh fan, but this is Mike Tomlin's postseason record. 2021, he lost. 2020, he lost. 2017, he lost, which means he didn't get in the playoffs. 19 and 18. 2016, he won 2 and lost the AFC Championship. 2015, he lost a divisional game. 14, 0 for 1. 11, 0 for 1. 2010, lost to the Packers in the Super Bowl. So 2008, he won the Super Bowl. But since then, and like I said, this is the guy that was from Pennsylvania going, he's not that good of a coach. Because he rode in on, what's his name? Chin guy.
Yeah, Bill Cowher.
Thank you.
Bill Cowher.
That he won. He said he won the Super Bowl because of Bill Cowher, and since then, he's now in 2010, but his record is not good in the playoffs.
Yeah, in the playoffs, and that's fine. And, it's tough to win in the playoffs. It 100% is. And, it's... I really do think that some of these teams are spoiled. Like, I think John Harbaugh is a really good coach for Baltimore. I do. And I remember Daryl just going in on John Harbaugh. And you know why? It's because everybody wants to compare their coach to Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
And it's like, if they're not Bill Belichick, we want to move on. And it's like, there's not many Bill Belichicks flying around here, right? Like, it's nuts that, you have a really, really good coach. You got to get your new quarterback. We'll see if Kenny Pickett can be that. You got to continue to add pieces. Yeah, I think it's just, it is what it is.
Apparently Rodgers buying in on Purdy.
There you go. He's looked good at times, man. He actually has looked good.
Oh, he looked really good.
So there's that. All right. So here's the power rankings real quick. Bills remain number 1 right now. We have the Chiefs number 2. We have Niners number 3. Eagles number 4. So the Niners have now moved over top of the Eagles, which I guess because it's without Jalen Hurts. They are an ordinary team without Jalen Hurts. I think that is a bit, over exaggerated here. But okay, because they've been the number 1 team for so long. They're getting their best. They don't have their quarterback, but whatever. It is what it is. Then you have the Bengals at number 5, Cowboys at number 6, Vikings number 7, Chargers number 8, Ravens number 9, and Giants round out the number 10 spot. Washington's now down to 19, which honestly we can go down to 25 for all I care because we're out of the playoffs.
Tell you right now, I don't think that game, and look, not minimizing what happened, but it didn't look like the Bills could stop the Bengals. I know it was early, things can change and get adjusted, but they were rocking and rolling. And
I mean, the Bengals are a tremendous team, so not being able to stop the Bengals at a high rate is not a insult in my opinion. They're
no, I'm just
dangerous.
saying that they didn't look. I know they're behind Buffalo right now, and I picked Buffalo to win that game, but I'm telling you that early on in that game, They didn't look like they had an answer for Burrow and the Bengals. They were just slicing them up. And I know it was a touchdown on the first possession and a field goal on the next possession, but I didn't feel anything of the Buffalo pressure that made me feel like, oh, they're going to slow them down. The Bengals look good.
Bengals are good. Bengals are good. But so are the Bills. And we'll see.
All
It was
right.
only the 5:38 left in the first quarter. So yeah, you said it. A lot of stuff could have happened down the stretch there, but we'll see how it pans out. All right, here we go. You ready to talk about our game?
Wait, can I hold my head down?
You ready to talk about this debacle? All right, Browns versus Commanders. But you wanted to start with Major Tutty. Some calling him Major Turdy. Some calling him, whatever.
Right.
I don't know what else they call him, honestly. But
I'm pretty
he's
sure
a pig. We're hogs.
I'm pretty sure we talked about it last week, and I said, whatever the Washington franchise can do to screw this up, they're going to do it. And if you were going to come out with Major Tootie or Tutty, whatever, why didn't they go?
It's Major Tutty because Tutty means touchdown. So it's like Major touchdown.
Whatever.
But
I know,
that's
I've heard
but I do think it's funny that you call him Major Tootie. That is funny.
one guy I was reading, he goes, "That's what I do after I have a really good breakfast in the morning." I mean, it's funny, but why didn't they go with the Red Hogs? If you're going to go with Major Tutty, I mean, like somebody was saying, I was reading, going, pick a dog because there's dogs in the military. There's no pigs in the military. I was reading all kinds of stuff, but it's like, really, you're gonna try to kowtow to
The old fan base.
timers.
Yep.
Yeah, and yet you couldn't kowtow them with Red Hogs.
Yeah. Or but anyway, but yeah, no, yes, true.
But you're going to try to throw a bone at the end. Oh my God. I said it last week and I'll say it again. If they could figure out a way to screw something up, they would do it. And they did it. What's your opinion?
Honestly, I think whatever they put out there, people were going to hate. And you know why? It's because a mascot is something that people grow fond of with time. Nobody likes the brand new mascot. Like, that's just not something, like, it's like, oh yeah, I remember Major Tutty when I was a kid. You know, it's going to be a cute name that people say, 20 years down the road. And it is what it's going to be. It is what it is, right? Like, we do have the history with the Hogs.
You put a positive spin on it. I like it.
It literally, like, out of all we've been through in the last 2.5 years or whatever it's been, like, this is so low on the totem pole for me. And I understand people getting upset about it. I do. And, there's different things that I wish they did in many, many ways. You know me, I was really big into the Red Wolves. I made a whole video on why I think it was the best. You may as well put Tim as the mascot. Yeah.
Sorry, I saw Yuki's thing.
Yeah, I love this though. Dr. Pig, Major Tutty's the hack and the fraud, excuse me, because really the real mascot is Dr. Pig, right? Is our boy Dr. Pig. So he has a dishonorable discharge. Oh man.
I mean,
so
it just doesn't fit. Commander Hog. No, you either go the Hog route or you go the Commander, right? I mean, am I wrong? It's like,
I don't disagree, really, honestly. I don't disagree.
Go the Hog route or the Commander route, but now they mash them together, and we're all supposed to be like, oh, how cool. We have some cartoon pig.
Yeah, the people that really are getting behind all of this, the name, the mascot, the songs, the this, the that, they were going to get on board anyway. They were all going to get on board anyway. Like, you literally could have called them the princesses, and those same people would have been, oh yes, women power, female
I'm
power or something.
thinking
I don't
go
know.
with GI Joe. The
Go with a
older
GI
crowd
Joe.
will the military guy with
Yeah,
a
the
helmet.
the toy.
We're the commanders. Yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
it's
it's they they
it's
did
funny.
not disappoint me.
The pig looks like he needs to be a Mickey Mouse clubhouse. The mascot is just dumb. Yeah, I mean, people are like most. I feel like most mascots are dumb. I feel like most mascots are
Yeah.
dumb.
Yeah,
Like,
but
think
look,
about the Wizards mascot. Remember, or was he a mascot? Wasn't the Wizards mascot some like weird guy in a blue thing? We didn't have a wizard, but wasn't he just like in a blue spandex thing?
that was
Oh,
the
who was the
Wiz.
one that jumped the trampolines? But anyway, yeah, look at that thing. Oh,
No,
you know
I
what?
know
I forgot about that one. Yeah, look at this thing. You're telling me
the
when they
Wiz.
debuted that, people were looking at it like, we got a winner! Like, what is that? It's not a wizard. I don't even know what that thing is.
That's G Wiz.
That's Gee Whiz. Okay, I forgot. Who was I thinking about? What's the one guy, the Whiz
Oh,
man?
Dr. Pig knew it.
Yeah, who's
Oh,
the
I
one
know who you're talking
that
about.
does all the jumping and he thinks he's really cool and everything? He like duns on the trampolines and stuff. What's his name? Or who's
No,
that?
I do not know. Somebody in the.
But you know who I'm talking about.
Chat.
If you've been to a Wizards game, he's the one that jumps on the trampolines and does all the
Yeah.
crazy things. Like, I feel like a lot of mascots around the league, they bring them out and it's not like it's a home run and people are so happy that, or like the Washington Nationals. Did people really look at the big head presidents that run around the field and think, oh yeah, that they probably rolled their eyes at that. What a weird gimmick. This is stupid. Whatever. Who cares? But now people love the race around with the mascot big heads.
But Tim, the difference is
Uh huh.
none of these teams, the Wiz or the Nationals, ever announced something 6 months in advance. Right? Like they said last summer in week 16, I think it was 16.
Yeah. Once they released the schedule, that was one of the things. Yeah.
Yeah. So they announced it. I'm pretty sure G Wiz, the president's running.
Yeah.
It was a gimmick, but they didn't build it up for like 10 months or 8 months.
100%. Why was this not out the first game? You know what I think they should have done? Why is it Major Tuddy announcing the name back in February? Why is it Major Tuddy coming out with "We Are Commanders" running out of the... Why do we get three dudes sitting in lawn chairs or director chairs or whatever they were in the middle of an empty stadium to announce the name? Why don't we have freaking Major Tuddy parachuting in as the commander and to announce the name with like the big parachute that says commander? Where is all that? Why are we 100%? Why are we waiting until week 16 to provide this? It takes time to make art, Tim. Yeah.
No, I think the sad part is
Uh-huh.
I think Snyder has known he's on the way out for a long time.
Uh-huh.
And him and his wife have kind of made up their mind that we're going to disparage this as much as we can because we're on the way out.
All right.
That's
you know
it.
what? That's a fair take, and I'm going to leave you with that last word on that, and we're going to actually get to the game. As bad as this is, we probably would prefer to continue to talk about Mr. Tuddy or Major Tuddy, whatever, or Tootie.
Well, at least we
but
can
here we
laugh
are.
about that.
Yeah. Carson Wentz gets the start. Let's just say he struggles. Let's just put it that way. Was it the correct decision to go to him? Or do you think they should have stuck with the luck box Heineke? And Ron's a dingbat. He should have seen this in practice. He looks like dog manure. And what in the world was he thinking going to Carson Wentz? What do you think?
Well, I think that Heineke had hit a wall. The last 3 games prior to that, he had no spark. There was no, I mean, I love him. Like I said, would go to battle with him, but he had nothing that sparked. The running game wasn't working. And I'm not blaming it on him. The offensive line sucks. We've had this conversation, but he had no spark, no offense, no plays that made you say, wow. Well, I can't say no, but not enough plays. And I think that Ron said, we have to come up with a spark. I just think he went the wrong way. And at the time, I didn't know that, but I'm thinking now, you're going to start Sam Howell next week or this week. Why didn't you just let him come in and let him fail and learn?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I don't think you can go with Taylor Heineke on that game because he hit a wall. Right? Am I wrong? I don't know.
The reason I was okay with going to Wentz is because I felt like the Heineke luck box was over. Right?
Yes.
The 2 Giants games, we completely got unlucky with the refs. And then in the Niners game, we had some drops. The team was not playing great. The defense looked sus. Like, we were having the problems that we were having with Wentz earlier on in the season, so they decided to go with it. My biggest problem with the Wentz situation is we only went deep twice. We only used that strong arm that we had to have to open up the offense to create the spark. We didn't do one play action out of the under center where he just play action, turn around, sets up into the pocket, and delivers that huge deep shot we know he can.
Yeah.
I remember one boot that was completely naked that he ended up getting pressured immediately because we did not block the in-man on the line of scrimmage, and he just had to throw it away, basically, throw it into the dirt. That was the only one I remember from under center.
No, they don't roll him out. They don't play action him.
Yeah.
But I thought the same thing, and we watched it where it was like, it's like, where's the lifting or taking the top off the defense? There was none of that, or not enough of that.
Yeah, or when we were having that great drive, right, that took like 11 and a half minutes off the clock or whatever it was. Whenever we went to pass, we went out of the shotgun. We switched it up. Yeah. We're running great power O. That honestly, the offensive line in the power offense, not the outside zone. The outside zone was horrible. But the power O, where you have down blockers and you pull the guard and you pull the tackle, or you pull the tackle and you pull the tight end, that was working for us. We were getting push. We were getting up to the linebackers. We were doing well. 5 yards a carry, 6 yards a carry. Just beating this team down. And in the second half, we went away from it. We went to a bunch more zone read concepts, which our zone read concepts are horrible. We don't know how to block them. Outside zone, yeah. It's not always bad. Shanahan's know how to freaking run that thing. But with our offensive line, it's terrible because we're so fat and slow. All right? We're not an athletic offensive line whatsoever, except for Sam Cosmi. Everybody else is just super slow. All right? So we don't have a good offensive line for that. So we went to that situation. But out of the power O, you pull the guard to fake the defense out. You play action it, and then you don't roll him out. You don't even have to roll him out. You just play action it. He takes a few steps to the side. He steps up. You see all the great teams do this.
Yeah.
You've seen Justin Herbert run this play and then deliver a beautiful ball. Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, whoever it is. They all have this in the playbook, and yet we didn't go to that once. Right? And I just thought that was horrible because we only took 2 deep shots. And guess what those 2 deep shots ended up being? Intercepted. Because we're throwing it into double coverage.
Or triple coverage.
Yeah, it's horrible. Horrible decision-making. Meanwhile, both of those plays, there was people open for first downs. In the first one that he threw deep, holy crap, I thought Heineke threw that ball. It was so underthrown and fluttering in the air. Horrific throw.
Can't argue with you.
I could have made that kind of donkey throw. I could have just fluttered it up there, making it look like a rainbow 30 yards downfield, 35 yards downfield, and get it picked off. This is a 6'5" NFL quarterback's number 2 overall pick with a strong arm, throwing one of the worst balls I've ever seen. And he had a clean pocket. He stepped up into the throw, and it just freaking went up like a punt. It was horrible on that one play.
Look,
and it was gross.
That is a classic example of him not reading the defense. He's just
right.
He puts a thought in his head. I'm going to do this, and then he just goes and does it. And
then on top of it, it's to 2 5'10" receivers in double coverage.
I can't argue with you.
Jahan Dotson's 5'10", 180 pounds, maybe. Curtis Samuel's about the same size. And this is who he throws into double coverage with.
Although I'm going to tell you right now, Dotson has made some pretty good catches, as McLaurin has, but terrible decision.
Oh yeah, but I love Jahan Dotson.
It wasn't a read. It was as soon as he snapped, or as soon as the ball was snapped, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And there was no read. What's the defense doing? Okay, that's not.
Yeah, because he looked at Cam Sims basically to look off the safety. Cam Sims was open. Threw it.
I know.
You're looking at him. But as to your point, he's not actually looking at anything.
He's doing the part.
He's already predetermined, I'm only turning my head this way to move the safety so I can come here. I'm not reading. I'm not looking at anything. I know that I'm supposed to turn my head this way before I throw this way to theoretically move the safety. But the safety didn't move at all. He just went right back into Jahan Dotson's lap and got the pick.
Yeah, it was like robot. I'm going to do this, and then this. And it's like,
yeah.
Did you see what the offense or the defense offered you? Nope, not at all.
So Wentz, had easily the worst performance of a Washington quarterback this season. Heineke was never worse than that. It was
Well, I'm
bad.
done talking about this bad. This game was horrible. And one thing before we move on, I heard who wrote the article that said that the locker room wanted Wentz, Heineke, and when Ron Rivera decided to have Wentz, they were all like, we're not playing for him. I don't buy it, but that's what I read.
Rodgers says the failure of the offense squarely on Scott Turner. We're too predictable. Logan Paulson explains it all. Go listen to his breakdown. Yeah.
No, that's absolutely right.
It's so bad. But yeah, the Browns locker room apparently revealing that players wanted Heineke, and Ron Rivera was asked about this, and he said, "Well, that would be news to me because when I talked to everybody was basically okay with my decision at the time." And he was like, "I would hope that I have a locker room situation that if you feel differently, you can come talk to me." But
yeah, but I would go one step forward. Uh-huh. If that was true, and the team decided the coach picked the guy we didn't want, we're going to lay down and not play against them, then you all need to go. Every person on that offensive team that did that needs to go.
But I don't think they gave up. I think he was just terrible. But yeah, I understand your point though. Yeah.
It's like,
yep.
Yeah, you can't say, well, the offense went to Rivera and said, we want Heineke, and he said, no, we're going with Wentz, and they're all like, okay, well, we're not playing. Then, like I said, anybody that did that, see ya. But anyway, move on.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention in this game was my disappointment in Derek Forrest, the safety, second-year player out of Cincinnati that seemed to have so much promise to start this year. I mean, he had a bunch of interceptions. He had some great plays, some good defensive moments of knocking balls away in coverage. He has fallen off a cliff almost farther than I've seen anybody fall off a cliff. I'm watching the film is hurtful of how bad he is playing right now. I mean, I already showed you the couple of plays last week. The one where that 71-yard touchdown run, the horrible angle he took to not even giving himself a chance. The George Kittle touchdown where he dove forward. Do you remember the play? The dude jogs the route in the Browns game over the middle of the field, uncovered, catches it, and just jogs into the end zone. Guess who was supposed to be covering him? Exactly.
I have one guess.
Derek Forrest just completely left his, like, it was that zone match concept that they like to run. So, like, when somebody gets, basically, you're in zone until you see how their play design is working, and based on the route concept, then you become a man-to-man. So everybody else matched up on a dude, except Derek Forrest just went and covered air and just left Peoples-Jones wide open in the middle of the field. Horrible play. Horrible play. There was other ones from Derek Forrest that just a complete lack of even attempting to cover Amari Cooper on a big third down play. He just let Amari Cooper run right from him. It was terrible. Again, more angles of just horrible tackling. So many things you can go on.
So you think he learns from it, or is he done?
I mean, they're going to give him another chance. That's just what it is. But at one point, he was like an 85 PFF or something. Like, he was like a top 4 safety. Remember that? In the beginning of the year, according to PFF, he's now down to like below 65. Like, he is tanking hard in these last few performances. So I'm done with him.
I get it.
Or he needs a complete awakening to earn me back.
Well, I'm just saying that how many people that have played for our defense that didn't do well here, and now they're off in another team doing pretty well. Landon Collins doing pretty well.
Yeah, he just had a pick 6 this last week against the Colts. Yeah.
When he played for us, we were like, okay, he's a hybrid, or not a hybrid. What'd they call him? Was it a hybrid?
Yeah. Yes. A hybrid linebacker, safety. Yeah.
And now he leaves us and goes to somebody else. And so maybe Forrest can be that guy. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just bad. Just bad. Bad. All right. A couple more things. Ron Rivera after the interview. This is kind of a meme-worthy thing. Ron Rivera doesn't know the team could be eliminated the next game when he's asked, so, what happens after 4 o'clock if you guys do get eliminated? He pauses for about 5 seconds in an awkward silence and says, we can be eliminated? What do you take from that? A lot of people think he should be fired from not being able to understand the intensity of this game and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't know if that matters. I really don't. Yeah. He wanted to win he needed to win the game. And after that, if he was actually going back with, oh, well, we're not eliminated yet, where everything, then I have more of a problem than maybe he was even playing to the question of, oh, we can be eliminated. Like,
no, he clarified later. He goes, basically his clarification was, I didn't even think about losing. My intention was to win the game. So I didn't know the scenarios exactly, because all I know is if we controlled our own destiny. If we win the next 2 games we're in, that's all I cared about.
I know we controlled our destiny for the last 3 games prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we managed to come in. I don't care about that. And look, I'm fine if they fire Ron Rivera. I think he might be a relic at this point, but I kind of like him. Don't like Scott Turner. Jury's still out on Jack Del Rio because he doesn't play a pressure defense like I expect. But I just want Scott Turner out. I don't have a problem with Rivera.
Yeah, Scott Turner. You know what? Yeah, if I had to keep Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio, I kind of do agree with you. I can live with that. It's not my ideal scenario, but I could live with that if I can add in a much better OC or a potentially much better OC.
What do you think the chances are we go after Sean Payton? Just a question.
I would be so upset if we went after Sean Payton because we would have to trade a first-round pick.
Yeah,
to
I
get
don't
him.
want to give it. Yeah,
I
agree.
It would be so moronic to go for Sean Payton. I would be through the roof upset. So mad if we did that. Why? First off, I don't even want a retread. I want a young coach. I want to be the Steelers.
Yep.
Steelers have only had 3 coaches since the Super Bowl era. That's it. And guess what? All of them have won Super Bowls.
No, I get it.
You get a young head coach with a smart head on his shoulders from a good coaching tree.
O'Connell, Shanahan,
McVay. Exactly. Even Zach Taylor right now, he's a young coach for the Bengals. McDermott was not young, but he was at least a first-year head coach, I believe. I don't think he was a head coach before. He was the defensive coordinator for the Panthers, right? You could go down the list of quality first-time head coaches that you can have for a long time, right? Like, if we go get Peyton, max we probably have him, if we're lucky, 10 years. And that's if we're lucky. More likely than not, he's only here for 5 years.
No, that's why I hope we get a buyer before Dan Snyder goes after the relic again.
Yeah, that's true too. That is, I'm hoping so. I did hear that. Did you hear? There's apparently Mark Mosley tweeted out a rumor that he says he has an inside source that Dan Snyder hired moving companies for his houses.
Oh, it's possible. I know. Also, Jay-Z is apparently going in with Bezos to give a deal about $7 billion.
Jim Zorn was in 500. Oh man. If we keep Ron, fire Scott, tell Jack to play man, and pressure Frank Reich as offensive coordinator. Pressure hire Frank Reich. That's interesting. Hire Frank Reich as OC. I don't hate that. He was the OC for the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl. Excuse me. I don't hate that decision. Like, there's a lot better offensive minds than Scott Turner. It's bad how bad Scott Turner is. It's really bad. But what do I know? All right. Going into next week.
How much time do you have?
Yeah.
About 10 seconds. Oh, go ahead.
Sam Howell is going to get the start here for Washington going into Week 17, but not without a little bit of drama beforehand. The first reports was that Ron was expected to go with Heineke, and then Howell could play. But I guess media pressure afterwards and whatnot, they finally changed the decision to just start Sam Howell. And then when Ron was asked about it, he basically was like, let's get this over with to play Howell.
Do you know what I heard?
What's that?
That Heineke understood that he was going to start, and he went to the coaching staff and said, no, Sam should have the opportunity to play the whole game. He has the right to play the whole game. Like,
where'd you read that?
Went, I don't know. That. I read a lot of crap, but
that's interesting. I haven't heard this, so I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just kind of interested in what your source is.
Let me see if I can find.
That's interesting.
I don't know if I shut the window down, but hold on. Keep going.
I like it. I mean, that would be cool. Because there's a few reasons why you could not go to Sam Howell that I think are stupid and bad, right? Apparently Roger agrees with you. Roger says he heard that too. So,
with me? Thank you.
Yes. So,
I've been
There's obviously a
vindicated.
few reasons that you go with Heineke over Sam for bad reasons, most of them. There was only one reason that I thought would have been okay in my book to not start Sam Howell, and that is because you've seen enough from him in practice that you actually do believe in him and you want to keep him under wraps. Right? You don't want to show the world yet. Sam Howell, and you just want to save him for next year. That's the only reason. But I don't think that had anything to do with it. And especially based on the conversation. What up, J Rabbit? Based on the conversation that he had with the media, let's just get this over with. He doesn't believe in Sam at all. Like, this is just a charity case to Sam Howell to give him the start because the season's over. He's like, whatever, go ahead and see what you can do. And we'll see what we have, kind of thing. And so basically he's going to get one audition against a red hot, I shouldn't say red hot. I mean, because that's not exactly what I mean. I don't mean they're like hot on a winning streak or something. But as far as a fired up, that's what I mean, Dallas team that really wants to win this game with the chance to get to the division. Right? And against a top-notch defensive coordinator in Dan Quinn, and potentially not even getting the full game with the starters. So he may not even have Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, De'Ami Brown. Like, he may not have any of these dudes on the field on Sunday. So now he's playing with backups against one of the better defenses that is fired up to win this game. I don't know if we even set Sam Howell up for success here, but what do you think about Sam Howell starting this last game?
I'm fine with it. I mean, he's either going to get knocked out. He's either going to be a Patrick Ramsey and lose his confidence, or he's Heineke. And I mean, come on, Heineke managed to have some success, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Although, again, maybe this is the last ditch effort of the guys on the way out trying to bury the team as much as they can. I don't know, but I think Heineke has hit a wall. Wentz is uninterested after his knee injury, and God love him, not judging him, but he's got no passion, and maybe How is a combination of Wentz and Heineke, where he's got the tools that Wentz has, but has a little bit of the passion that Heineke has. So I think he's got the best chance of winning out of the three. What do you think?
Go. I like it. I love it. I want to see him play for sure. Want to see if I wish we played him earlier, but that's just me because I would like to see a few games of him instead of just one. But we're gonna get one, and I'm also not looking for high statistics from him. I don't really care too much about that. I want to see him have some composure. I want to see him make some good reads and good decisions. I know he's going to make some rookie mistakes. I know Dan Quinn's going to fool him in some way. I would not be surprised at all at 2 interceptions or 3 interceptions this game. But I don't want to. I want to make sure that these interceptions are not just horrible throws and just obvious, like the dude standing there the whole time.
Trying to throw it in a tight spot and it doesn't happen, or a guy reaches for it and it tips off his hands.
Yeah. So I want to see a reasonable, accurate game from him and some good fundamentals and getting through his progressions and going through his reads and making some completions. And if he has good stats on top of that, bonus. If not, as long as these are mistakes that it seems like Dan Quinn schemed up turnovers instead of Sam Howell just being blind and just throwing picks right to dudes that are just standing there the whole time.
Yep. So not reading anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
A la Carson Wentz. All right, you ready for weekly picks and Weddle and get out of here?
Yeah, let's do it. Hold on. I'm still in the mix. Hold on. Let me pull up the so the top three get paid. I'm in fourth place at 127. Second is 130 and or third is 130, second is 130 131 and first is 136. So I don't think I can catch 136, but anyway.
How many did you
All
have, you
right.
said?
So, huh?
How many did you have, you said?
127.
So you're
By the
four
way, I
behind
just
second?
yeah, I'm behind third. You know what?
And four behind second.
I have to stop this because yeah, four behind second, three behind third, and nine behind first. However, I find this very interesting.
Okay.
The pick'em normally we're on Wednesday. There's no spreads, nothing. They're all dashes.
Weird.
Which I heard they're actually toying with the idea of not playing the games this week because of
The Demar situation.
Demar.
Well,
But
okay.
there's
Then I
no
guess we're not doing
spreads.
weekly picks. All
Well,
right.
we can. Vegas is home against Kansas City with this no spreads. I got to put something in because I don't know if they're going to count it
All right. Well, give me
or
the
if
Chiefs then. We'll just pick them heads up.
all
Straight
right.
up then.
Jacksonville at home against Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Oh, I kind of like Jacksonville, but all right, I'll go with you.
I think
Uh,
I love Mike Vrabel as a coach, and I'm gonna believe in them.
all right, Atlanta's at home against Tampa Bay.
I don't know if Tampa's playing their starters or not because they've already locked up. I'm gonna go with Atlanta.
Yeah, I like it. Buffalo's at home against New England.
I'm gonna go New England.
Oh, trying to be all. Chicago's at home against Minnesota.
Chicago at home versus Minnesota. Minnesota.
All right, I'm going with all your picks right now. Cincinnati's at home against Baltimore without Lamar Jackson.
Cincy.
Yeah, I like it too. Indianapolis is at home against Houston.
Houston.
All right. Miami's at home against the Jets.
Jets.
Really? Doesn't matter to Miami? Or they
It
just
does.
suck? All right. Saints are at home against Carolina.
Saints.
Yep. I'm with you. Pittsburgh's at home against Cleveland.
Pittsburgh.
Yep. Like it. Denver's at home against the Chargers.
Chargers.
Yep. I'm with you. Philadelphia's at home against the Giants.
Philly.
Doesn't matter. San Francisco's at home against Arizona.
Niners.
Yep. Seattle is at home against the Rams.
The Rams. Upset alert.
All right, Washington's at home against Dallas. You know I'm going to take that.
Mm-hmm.
And Green Bay is at home against Detroit.
Green Bay. No, Detroit. I got Green Bay.
Yep. But this is really weird. I heard this and I didn't realize it that they were talking about maybe not playing any games this week.
That's wild.
Maybe they'll just push the season out. But I thought when I heard it, it was like
Just
really,
eliminate the Pro Bowl week?
or just push everything out a week.
I don't know if you could do that with the Super Bowl. So many logistics. I guess you could, but there's a lot of logistics.
Just saying. I thought it was all BS, and then I just looked at the pick'em, and there's like 0 spreads. I think they're gonna look, and God bless them. I wish them nothing but the best. But I think the NFL right now is virtue signaling, like this guy's life is the most important thing to us. So we got to play it. And I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying they have to play it out as far as they can, because they don't want anybody coming back and going, oh, all you think about is money. You don't give a shit about this guy. That's my thing, which is why this week is being what it is.
Yeah.
Am I whacked or?
No, no, you're not wrong. I don't like it, but it is what it is. All right, we're good.
Justin said, avoid a lawsuit. All right, let's do. So we have to pick a offensive guy.
Yep.
Let's go with. I already picked. I'm trying to pick somebody I haven't picked before. Here, you pick somebody.
Josh Jacobs. All right, so we got a 25 or 26-year-old, tall, this, that, whatever. I'm going to go with, it's a low number. I'm going to go with Deshaun Watson. Okay, we have a QB who's 25 or 26 still. We're in the AFC. Oh, is it Josh Allen? Bang.
I was going to... Okay, I'm sorry. I was going to say that, but I picked him before, and I'm like, I can't pick him. Just wrong.
So I started this one with
early
Demar
on,
Hamlin.
I was talking,
Yeah. All right, I started this one with Demar Hamlin.
Buffalo.
No, go ahead.
Oh. No, I was saying that I was on Buffalo, and...
All right, I'm going to go... So it's not a defensive player. It's an offensive player in the NFC. Let's go with Zach Martin. Wait, what? How do you spell his name? There it is.
Let's go with Dak Prescott.
Oh, I already went. So now Dak Prescott doesn't make sense because of...
Oh, it's not.
It is an offensive player. NFC South. How old are they? So somewhere between like 28 and 29 is how old they are. So a 28 or 29-year-old. Oh wait, I didn't realize it's a short person. So it's got to be like a receiver. Let's go one of my favorites that I always like to go with, Rondell Moore. Nope, not Rondell Moore. So NFC North or NFC South?
NFC East.
Oh, running back? Is it like Dalvin? No, Dalvin Cook's number 4. It's probably a running back. Let's see. Let's go with like DeAndre
What about
Swift.
Chubb?
Oh, and Nick Chubb. Well, Nick Chubb's in the AFC. It's gonna be in the NFC.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you're good. Oh, it's not a running back. Really? And we're in the NFC South. What offensive player is short like this? Oh. No, it's not Kyler Murray because it can't be number 1. What in the world? It's not a receiver, it's not a running back, but they're 5'10" or 5'11"?
Quarterback, maybe?
Heineke? No, it can't be Heineke.
So it's got to be a quarterback, though, at this point.
Theoretically, a short... Who else is a short
What about
in the NFC South?
Seattle guy?
He's in the NFC West. But Geno Smith's tall. It's going to be the NFC South. Like, how... Ritter's 6'3". Mariota's like 6'2" or 6'3". Who's a short quarterback in the NFC South? PJ Walker. Bang! Got it. Sometimes you're good, man. Sometimes you're good. All right. All right. So that's that. Hey, I had a guest for a bit. He's gone, by the way. Are the Commanders good yet? No. Nope.
By the way, one final prayer for the Buffalo guy.
Yes.
Wish him nothing but the best. All commentary has nothing to do with that. This is a game. So, be right, get right, and then once you get right, we'll criticize you then.
All right. Well, hey, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Also, skip below. There's a Discord link. Hop on our Discord and come talk some football with us. Last but not least, there are donation links in the description below. If you feel so kind, you can donate to the channel, or you can become a channel member by hitting that join button or the first link in the description. And 99 cents a month can get you some emojis in the chat, and you can help support the channel that way. Appreciate all of you in the chat. You guys were awesome as usual.
As always.
We did a lot of talking today, so we didn't read the chat that much, but I'm sorry that I didn't. But you guys, remember when we could read every chat? Like, it's crazy. Oh, like how cool like the channels go when we had like 40 to 50 of you in here all the time, and there's just so many. Like, we can't read all the chats anymore. It's awesome. It's a great problem to have. I appreciate you guys.
Tim didn't talk so much.
Nobody expects that. They really come here expecting me to really be timid and not talk too much, but here's that. But anyway, all right, I appreciate all of you. Any last words there, J-Dubs?
No, hey, God bless everybody. Have a great new year, and we'll see you next week.
And until next time, see ya!